Alrighty. Well, good morning. Oh, good morning. Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Whew. It is. What is it now? It is, well, I can't really tell you what time it is because the cracked up part of the phone is right there. Well, hold on. I can tell you what time it is. I can because I have my tablet here. It's 6:58 a.m. Holy smoke, 6:58 a.m. And it is, what day is it? What day is it? It's Thursday, July the 17th in the year of our Lord, 2025. It is. Yeah. Anyway, there's Rocky doing his best Wilson impression. Hey, you remember Wilson from the show there? The neighbor on the Home Improvement, that was the show. The neighbor on Home Improvement used to just always be on the other side of the fence with the hat, you'd see about that much, you know. Anyway, oh, there he is. Yeah, quite a character. Anyway, Rocky's already had first breakfast, and he's just completed his, actually, he's had first breakfast, and he's had the nap after first breakfast, and he's also had second breakfast. And he just completed his nap after second breakfast. Rocky gets more done by 8 a.m. than most people do all day, I'll tell you. Anyway, here he is. Hello. What a beautiful boy. You're a beautiful boy. Mm-hmm. Yeah, anyway, he's got his leg all bandaged up. He does. Mm-hmm. And, yeah, it's quite a thing. Hello, Rocky. Hey, you. Yeah. Mm. Here he is, my Rocky. Yeah. Anyway, it's Thursday morning. There isn't any work today. I was supposed to work today, but it's going to rain. It's supposed to be lots of thunderstorms and things. I may have some work on the weekend. Well, I do for sure have some work on the weekend, but I'm not sure where that work will be. I don't know if it's going to be in one place or another place. It just depends. If there's no work in one place, then I'm going to a job at another place. So I do have work for Saturday for sure, but I'm just not sure where yet. Unless, of course, it rains, in which case I won't have any work on Saturday. It just depends. The weather this year has kind of messed up things for me a bit, because it's been really weird. It's also been a really bad year for mosquitoes. It has been. Like, I've never seen the mosquitoes as bad as they are this year. I've actually had them coming at me and biting me and everything in the sun, like in the midday sun, which you never used to get. You know, you had to go into a cool, damp area to get that. But they're out, even out in the scorching sun. They're coming after me. So I know that's bad. It means there's way too many of them, and they're very aggressive anyway. Yeah, not a good thing. But there's a lot of weird things happening in the world these days, so who knows? Um, One thing I have noticed, and like last night there, I had a weird experience, and but I've heard and what I'm noticing myself, what I'm observing, is that the veil between this physical world and the spiritual world is becoming thinner, just like people say it is, like some people say it is. There is something in that, and more things are being revealed all the time. Now, my personal belief is that we're in end times, and that's why this is happening. Um, oh, okay, you. Where you going? What are you doing? Oh no! Hey, oh, I'm just being silly. Anyway, um, now I don't know if we're in end times, as in Jesus is coming back imminently, or the return of Jesus is imminent. I don't know if that's what it is, or if it's because we're at the end of an age. But there's definitely some changes happening. Um, Governments all over the world are making war against the people, including our own government here in Canada. Um, they're actually making war against us at this point. Which again, okay, get off me, sweetie. It's hard to breathe. Which again, um, could be a sign that the beast system will soon be upon us, or is upon us. Maybe already is upon us. The infrastructure for it is definitely upon us. And definitely some of the laws and policies and procedures that are used in dealing with we the people by the government. I know that's a U.S. saying, we the people, but it applies in a way everywhere, because we are the people, the people who do all the working and the living and so on in the country. There's the average guy, the average guy that picks up his lunch pail and goes to work every day or whatever, drives a Chevy, you know, lives in a bungalow in the suburbs or whatever. The average man, Joe Everyman, that's the people. And we the people are definitely being messed with a lot these days by various branches of government, and that applies no matter what country you live in. It's a worldwide sort of a thing, And of course, we know the beast system will be a worldwide system. It'll be a one world government system, which again, we're hearing the higher ups in society, the billionaires who own everything, basically talk about a one world government, as globalism. That's called globalism. And I don't know, I think some of them are aware of what's going on and some of them really aren't. I think some of them have a direct pipeline to demonic forces, and others are just along for the ride because they see an opportunity to make a lot of money and to consolidate a lot of power, which will make them, put them way up there even more so than they already are. But anyway, the bottom line is, for whatever their motivation and whatever they know or they don't know, they're pushing for a system that sounds an awful lot like the system spoken of in the Bible and referred to as the beast, what we refer to as the beast system, So yeah, we're living in very interesting times anyway, and really very perilous times. And it keeps us in a constant state of stress, and because you just don't know what you're going to get hit with next. And there's a lot of arbitrary stuff happening that is harmful to the average person. Like I say, it's harmful to Joe Everyman, and it's designed to be, because it's war, just like in a war. See, crazy hair. Bald and then crazy hair. That's what I got going on here anyway. But in a war, the whole idea is to hurt the enemy. And so everything you have in a war and everything you're using is to hurt the enemy. You don't fire bullets that are designed to do anything but hurt the enemy. You don't drop bombs that are designed to do anything but hurt the enemy. Everything is centered around hurting the enemy in a war. And what's happening is government is doing a lot of things to hurt us at this point, to make it harder for us to exist and to live. The Canadian government here will make it really impossible for you to live, and then they'll offer to help you kill yourself. That's their solution. Assisted suicide. Yeah, that's, basically to volunteer to be executed, because that's what it boils down to. If you can't make a go of it under the conditions that we have created, which are conditions where practically nobody can make a go of it, then you can voluntarily be executed. And that's what the MAID program, Medical Assistance in Dying, which is called MAID in Canada, the MAID program, that's what it's all about. If you can't live under these conditions of us making war with you, then you can voluntarily become a casualty. You can basically just put yourself in front of our guns so we can shoot you down. No, they don't shoot us. They give us a lethal injection is what they do here. And the funny thing is, Canada abolished capital punishment for most crimes except treason in 1976, officially. The method we used here was hanging. We used to hang people prior to that. Now, it was retained until 1998 for treason. And then it was abolished for treason as well. Nobody was hanged for treason, though, in Canada in a long time, like way prior to 1976 even, when it was abolished for most other things. I don't know when the last execution for treason occurred, but it was a very long time ago. Anyway, maybe during World War II, maybe even prior to that, I don't know. But the bottom line is, what we're seeing governments all over the world, not just the Canadian government. I speak on it because that's what I know from my own experience being a Canadian person. That's the government I'm dealing with. But all over the world, it's the same thing. Governments are waging war against the people. Governments are supposed to serve the people, not wage war on them. Everything has been turned on its head. It's not good, It's not good when that happens. But it's generally leading up to something. When you see drastic changes like that, it's leading up to something. Anyway, like I say, the veil between this world and the next is getting thinner. It appears that the beast system is coming into play. I may be wrong about that. I definitely see signs of it, like the government waging war on the people, like the infrastructure that's being put in place for surveillance and monitoring people and controlling people. Cars that can be controlled remotely. Cars really being too expensive for the average person to ever own one. That's happening now. Like I say, cameras everywhere watching your every move. When you leave your house, practically everywhere you go, there's a camera. All the public streets are lined with them. You go into any business or any office building or anything, there's cameras everywhere. You're being photographed from the moment you leave your house on. And even in your house, these smart devices have cameras in them. I mean, even with this phone that I'm using here now, it has a camera that can be activated remotely. So it's possible for the camera or the microphone or both to be activated from some other place by some unknown person, and then anything that's within range of the camera or the microphone could be seen and heard. So I could be having a conversation with somebody with my cell phone in my pocket and turned off, and that conversation could be recorded. That is possible. I'm not saying it's happening, but the technology is within this device right here that it is possible. This device I'm using right now can do that. Like I say, I'm not saying it is doing it. It might be doing it, it might not be doing it, I don't know. But it can do it, you see. So things that I don't want, like right now, this message I'm making, I want to put this out there. I wouldn't be making the message if I didn't. I'm voluntarily doing this. But things that I don't want put out there could also be put out there. You know, if the phone is being used that way. It definitely has the capability to be used that way. And that's not an accident. They didn't build that into it for no good reason, because they didn't have to build devices like this that they can then control remotely. They did that on purpose, you know. So yeah, it's, again, the infrastructure's there, the banking infrastructure, the fact that they're trying to do away with cash. They want to make everything electronic. They're promoting the idea that, you know, cash is not safe, and cash is this and cash is that. During the scamdemic, they really had people frightened of cash. It's amazing the people who were terrified of cash. Our Ministry of Transportation office here in town won't take cash anymore. I don't think any of them do since the scamdemic. They used that as an opportunity to say, nope, we don't take cash anymore. The only way you can pay to renew your plates or your driver's license or anything else, or register a vehicle or anything, or pay taxes on things or whatever, the only way you can do that now is through a debit or a credit card. We will not accept cash. This is the way it is now, because they did that during the scamdemic, because they said, well, cash is crawling with germs, you know, these much money you're handing the staff here might contain COVID. Might be just crawling with COVID disease, and then the staff get sick and die because they handle money, you know. So they discontinued it, they claimed, for that reason, but it's never come back. They're not now accepting cash. You know, they're not. And there's different things in the hospital here. You can't go in there unless you're wearing a mask. Even now, it's like that. And you see, it's all about control. It's all about conditioning people a certain way. And again, it's all about getting us into the right mindset to accept the beast system, to take the mark, and so on. And to, you know, basically pledge our loyalty to the Antichrist. Now, whether that's going to happen as soon as I think it is, I don't know. Maybe it won't. Maybe we got hundreds or even thousands of years before that happens. I don't really think so, just by the pace that things are moving at, and by the length of by the changes that are happening, and how quickly they're happening, and how the technology is being put in place, and the whole society is being changed so that we don't value personal freedom, and so that we just obey and don't question authority, and so that we don't have cash, and we don't use cash anymore. Now we use credit or debit or whatever, you know. And of course, and also the consolidation of things. If I go into my bank branch right now, they won't deal with me unless I show them my driver's license. I refuse to show them my driver's license, And so what they've done, these people, what they've done is they basically have told me, they put me on notice. The last time I was in there, I wouldn't show them my driver's license. And the cashier at the bank, the teller, she told me, she said, your non-compliance has been noted by the bank and it shall no longer be tolerated. Imagine being spoken that way, being spoken to that way by a teller at the bank that you deal with. And you, like, I've dealt with the Bank of Commerce since the 1970s. Since I was a kid, I had a bank account, opened a bank account there about 1976, 77. When I was like 8 or 9 years old, I opened a bank account. Didn't have a whole lot in it, mind you, back then. I might have had a couple of dollars in there, $5 or something. But I did open a bank account back then. And I have dealt with the Bank of Commerce that long, since I was a little boy. You know, literally since I was an 8 or 9 year old, like 1976, 1977 in there. And this woman, who was probably about 30 years old, you know, who wasn't even thought of yet when I started dealing with that bank, she stood there and said, the bank has noted your non-compliance and it shall no longer be tolerated. Like, who are these people? You know, who are these people that they can be that arrogant and speak to other people that way? Speak to the people who are their customers, the people who actually are the reason the bank exists in the first place. You know, who are these people? You know, it's just mind-blowing. And they'll say, well, we need this to protect you. It's always to protect you. It's not to protect you. It's to get you used to the idea that your banking information and your driver's license information and your medical records and your tax records and your criminal record, if you have one, are all melded together into one thing. It's all connected. It's all the same. I don't go to the bank to renew my driver's license. If I get pulled over by a cop, I don't have to show him my medical records or my banking records or whatever. I have to show him my driver's license, and I have to show him the documents for the vehicle I'm driving. I have to show him the title or the ownership for the vehicle. I have to show him proof of insurance for the vehicle and so on. But I don't have to show him my medical records or my banking information or anything. But if they combine everything into one thing, then I guess he'll have access to all of it. You know? I mean, I understand that sometimes people doing various jobs need certain information to do their job. I understand that when I go to the bank, they need to confirm that I am a customer of the bank and that the account that I'm trying to access is my account. The thing is, they've done that for decades. First with my passbook, my bank book, and then they did away with the bank book and they turned it into a card, a debit card or whatever. So then they did it with my debit card. But see, it's a gradual thing of changing. We went from the physical bank book to the physical debit card, which again is closer now to the thing, and it's tied in with the whole thing of a cashless society. Don't pay by cash, pay with your debit card. So you couldn't pay with your bank book. When it was just a bank book back in the 70s and 80s, and even into the 1990s, You couldn't pay in a store with a bank book. If you went into a grocery store and you filled your card up and you took it through the checkout stand and you handed the lady behind the counter your bank book, when she said that'll be X number of dollars, she would say, I can't do anything with this. I'm going to need some cash, you know. See, you had to go to the bank and withdraw cash from your account, and you used your bank book as proof that you were the person who was entitled to do that, because only the person entitled to do that would have the bank book. You see, that was the idea. Now, obviously, if you got robbed, it was possible that somebody else might have it, but generally speaking, only the person who was authorized to withdraw the money would have that bank book. Then they went to the electronic card. They did away with the bank books. And again, that's all. Then we got getting into the beginnings of the cashless society. See, it's a process. It takes place over a period, not just of hours or days or weeks or months, but of decades. It's a process that began a long time ago. And I'm an old guy now, so I've watched it happen. And yes, so it got the debit card. You could access your bank account through that, and you could also pay at the store with that. If you hand your debit card to the cashier behind the counter, she can use that to get the money that you owe the store for the goods you're taking out of there. Couldn't do that with your bank book, but can do it with the debit card. Now, that's real convenient, and it's sold to us on that basis. And of course, it was also sold to us on the basis of security. They said, well, it's more secure now. Your account is more secure because of this card. Of course, that proved not to be true, because fraudsters are always evolving. You know, and every time they come up with something that's supposed to deter fraud, so they say, what it actually is it's another step towards total control on their part, and it doesn't deter fraud because the fraudsters find ways around it. And in some cases, it makes it even easier to commit fraud, you know, because the fraudsters sometimes with these changes, they say, this is great. This is even easier, you know, once they figure it out. And they do figure it out because that's their livelihood. That's how fraudsters put groceries on their table. That's how they put the food on the table and pay for the roof over their head, is by stealing money from people like you and I. That's how they do it. So if there's some change made that they can no longer steal the money the way they used to steal it, they find a new way to steal it. And they'll use the technology that's put in place, we're told, to keep them from stealing your money. They'll use that technology then to steal your money. You know, because these aren't stupid people. They're evil people. They're bad people, for sure, but they're not stupid. You know? And so, yeah, this is what we get. It's just like with the cars now. A new key for your car will cost you $1,000. This is for your safety, so your car doesn't get stolen. Guess what? The fraudsters now can steal the code out of the air that comes from your electronic key just using a laptop computer and some software they have. And then